second interview today, we have another iconic African in a totally different sphere. We had Amina in the morning. Now we have Aliko Dangote. He is the most famous industrialist and investor in Africa. I think I don't need to introduce him. Aliko, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
for joining us.
Thank you.
I know
great pleasure.
You lose a lot of money by stopping working and coming here, but but sometimes
for you it's okay.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do also.
You have to, yes, definitely.
That kind of it makes you civil society also. It's not bad.
We do.
Okay, right, Aliko. For the last year, we have been talking on and off about this very ambitious project. I mean, we all knew you as a cement man, the man who making cement everywhere in Africa. And suddenly we hear that you became an oil man. And in oil, you went into most complicating area. You did not buy a block of oil from the government.
We're there also.
You are also there?
Yes.
Okay.
We bought 2 blocks from Shell.
You got 2 blocks over there. Okay. People think that's easy, but you get a block, and if you discover something, you sell it to one of the oil majors, and you make your money, and you go to Regent's Park or Surrey in London. And we have many of those guys in London.
We have. Yes.
But you are doing something very unusual. You decided to build one of the largest industrial facilities in the world, actually, not only in Africa. It's a huge undertaking. What is the capital cost of this project you're doing?
Well, in that particular location, we're spending about 12 to 13 billion dollars.
12 and 13. You heard this number?
12 to 13.
12, 13 billion dollars.
Yes.
And this means you are betting everything. You're betting your shirt on this, correct?
Well, I'm betting quite a lot, yes.
You're betting quite a lot in
quite
this.
a lot, no yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. But can you tell us what exactly this you are doing and why it's costing all this amount of money?
Well, actually, thank you very much, Mo. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me to this Mo Ibrahim's weekend. It's a great pleasure to be here. Yesterday, I was actually sweating when there was an accident, going to the airport.
Where? In
London.
In London? Okay, you were in London, I said.
Yeah, because Stansted Airport closes at 10. I said that, well, if I'm not able to make it,
I will never talk to you again.
I know, and that's more expensive than my project.
You know why this guy is charming, Anyway, thank you very much.
So really, what we have today, Mo, is that we have almost about 5 major projects. We have the refinery, which is 650,000 barrels per day.
650,000
barrels per day. We have the petrochemical, which is 1.3 million tons of polypropylene polyethylene, which will make us second largest exporter of petroleum products in sub-Saharan Africa after Sasol. Then we have 3 million tons of urea and ammonia, which is fertilizer. And also we have the gas pipeline. But the 3 have actually moved very, very fast. And then we have the cement. We are doing about $2 billion worth of expansion in the cement. And then agriculture, we have, rice, 1 million tons, which we are building with integrated power, because we are in the localities where we are going to, process, do parboiling. The rice we eat is different than the rice here in Côte d'Ivoire. We eat parboiled rice, so you have to boil the rice and do, the process. With all this, the most challenging one, which is really very good, is the refinery. It has opened our eyes to see the lack of infrastructure in, Africa.
Now, let us dissect. We're going to do a forensic audit of what you are doing now.
Okay.
So let's take it one by one.
One by one, all right.
Okay, this big refinery and associated installations you are making, can you describe it to us? What is exactly, is it just some pipes bringing crude and you are refining this and then pumping it back, or
no,
what do you have to do?
We have, the refinery is actually on a, first of all, let me tell you the challenges and what we are facing. It's just outside Lagos. We took up a land which is about 2.7 million square meters.
2.7 million.
Square meters is huge. You know, it's massive. Internal roads alone, we have 136 drainage, some of them as wide as 40 meters, we have 200 kilometers. And it's all fenced. 240
kilometers of roads you have to create?
No, 136 kilometers of roads. By drainage, we have about 213 or so.
Okay.
Of drainage. But the most challenging is that, you know, the land, it was just a jungle, it was a mangrove.
Marshlands.
Marshland, we have to remove this thing, you know, all the trees.
You have to clear
it, and then we pump 65 million, cubic meters of sand, which is quite a lot. We have to bring the two world's biggest dredgers to work there continuously for almost about 10, 11 months.
So you get this sand from the seabed?
From the sea, yes, from the sea into the land.
Okay.
And, so when we finish that, we are now faced with the quality of the soil that we have. Our refinery, not the fertilizer, the refinery section alone has the highest number of piles you can find anywhere in the world, which is 136,000 piles. It's huge. It's 100, so everything about this refinery is very, very huge. You can see the regenerator, which they are showing here.
Can we have some? What's that?
Yes, this one is weighing 3,000 metric tons.
You have to generate your own power?
No. This regenerator, it regenerates the crude.
You generate
the crude.
Okay.
Yes. So. So we have this, but the real challenge of the project is that we have to build our own port, because none of the ports in Nigeria can actually take the weight.
Thing. Where do you get this from?
This from Hyundai, Korea.
From Korea?
Yeah.
And you managed to ship it all the way from Korea
yes,
to...
we have actually 7 of these.
Okay.
This is the biggest, then we have another smaller ones. And this thing has to be rolled out. And so the ports in Nigeria, the heaviest equipment they can take might be maybe 150 tons or so. And then we are faced with the roads. If you look at what this one is going to go on now, they put on this thing.
And what
we have to build a special road for all our equipment to be able to pass.
What is this creature?
Which one is that?
Well,
the other one. Okay, the other one is the heaters. We
filters.
Filters and heaters. They are the same.
Okay, to ensure the flow.
The flow of the oil, to heat it up, and so we have a lot of various. We have an equipment, single one, which is 42-story building. You
showed me some pictures of massive cranes. You said you have to get some of the world's biggest.
There are only 3 of them available in the world. There are 5,000 tons crane.
5,000 tons.
Yes, so that one you have to book maybe a year and a half, 2 years in advance, because there are only 3 in the world.
The whole world?
Yeah, in the whole world. Yeah, there are only.
You have photographs of this stuff?
Yeah, this is it. This is the crane. This one crane is huge.
That's the crane.
Yes, it has not been fully assembled. This crane has equipment over 205 containers, which they have to couple, together. So these are some of the,
Is this accommodation or what you are
building? No. These are the heaters.
I thought you were doing real estate as well. No,
it's not real. No, it's not real estate. But the site More, we have over 30 kilometers of fencing,
30 kilometers of fence.
concrete fencing at the site. So we have quite a lot of challenge. But what this will give us at the end of the day is to give us, 650,000 barrels of, crude processing, and total number of products that will produce will be about 32 million tons. So 32 million tons, it means that Nigeria will actually be one of the largest exporters in Africa of petroleum products. So what we are trying to do is to do exactly like what we did in cement. Nigeria used to be number 2 in the world after US in cement importation. And now Nigeria, was self-sufficient. And by this year, Nigeria will be the largest exporter of cement in Africa.
Okay.
With 8 million tons of expansion.
Right, but I think this wonderful, this is a courageous man to put all, he bet the bank and everything on such a massive technological projects, which in Africa we're not famous for. We always go for the soft stuff. And I'm not aware of any major private investment in Africa at that scale.
No, never.
Which is funded by local people.
Yes.
And that's it. Can you give him a hand, really, for what he's doing?
Thank you.
Now, we come to cement. I know you have a number of cement facilities. In how many countries you are producing?
Well, 14 in total, the operational one.
14.
We have about 11, then we have about 3 new countries.
Now, let me ask you a question. You had to do 14 factories.
No, more than 14 factories, 14 countries.
14 countries, so you have more than one?
Countries we have, like in South Africa, we have 2. In Nigeria, we have 3. We are building the 4th one. Let me give you the scale of our industries. Like in Nigeria, we have one single location which we are producing about 30 million tons, which is
13 million tons.
13 today, but by end of this year it will be 16, which is by far outstripping the whole production of South Africa.
So you're going to end up producing more than South Africa?
In that location alone, yes.
Just one location?
Just one location, yes.
South Africans, watch out. You guys are
they don't need to watch out. I'm there
becoming
also.
History. Yeah.
So we have in Zambia, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Congo, Brazzaville, so most of the countries, were there. In Cameroon, we're actually building another 3 million tons here in
Côte d'Ivoire.
Yeah. Côte d'Ivoire, just about an hour, from here.
Now, strategically, when you start to build this empire of cement manufacturing, are you, of course, you're looking at markets, etc., and raw materials and transport, but was it necessary to build in 14 countries? Couldn't you build in 4 or 5 key locations and then transport to other countries, or are the custom barriers forcing you to put factories sometimes where it is not optimum to do so?
Well, there are several reasons. One of the reasons first is that it is not easy to move around.
It's not easy to move around?
It's not easy to move around, that's number one. Number 2, it depends on the country, whether they have limestone, which is our key raw material.
That's what I thought. Some location will be more.
Yeah, it depends. Like now, let me give you an example, because you've talked about movement within Africa.
Yeah.
Take, for instance, our factory in Nigeria, which is in a place called Igbeshi. It's not far away from Obasanjo's house.
Okay.
Yeah.
You put it there because of Obasanjo?
No. It's because of the limestone, actually. Okay. So we have the factory there. We are only 28 kilometers into Republic of Benin. But Republic of Benin, they don't allow us to take cement into, Benin Republic, but they import from China.
Why?
It's one of the areas that I keep always discussing with my very good friend, Vera. I'm sure she's somewhere here. And I always tell Vera, please, can you make the regional markets in Africa to work before we go to AFCFTA?
Now, let me just get to the bottom of this. Could it be the Chinese cement cheaper than your cement?
No. It's whatever. If the market is selling for zero, we're willing to compete at zero. So we'll just take and sell.
So you are happy to compete at price?
No. It's not about competition. It's about allowing us to go in.
So how come they allow Chinese and not allow Nigerians?
Honestly, Mo, you should ask the president of the country. He will give you.
Do you have anybody from Benin here? No?
I'm sure nobody will rise up his
No?
hand. Do you?
Nobody from Benin
Nobody from
here.
Benin?
Where? Okay, why are you doing that? No answer. Please, when you go home, ask why are you doing something silly like that? I mean, if it's cheaper, I understand, but if it's not cheaper, why?
Because
why?
really, the AFC, CTA is a very, very good, thing to, But my issue is that even if we sign, what about the implementation? We are very good at designing programs and whatever, but implementation is key, which is really missing.
Because we talked about free trade areas.
Yes.
ECOWAS talked about borderless region. Is that happening in reality or not?
Well, actually, it's not happening in reality, because the biggest issue that you have is, allowing movement. Today, if we are going to take cement to, say, maybe Togo, we're going to spend almost a week for just 210 kilometers.
Is it the roads or is it the customs?
It's the customs.
The customs?
Yeah, you sleep in the border when you get there.
Why?
Yeah, because, it's just corruption.
You have to pay in order to get your cement across?
Well, we don't pay, but maybe that's why they're holding us. But even people who are paying, they have to spend that long period of time.
Also.
It's a long process, yes. So I think the CFTA will help us. But I think before we jump to CFTA, we must make sure that the regional markets are working very well.
Right, I think there is some practical issue here which people need to think about. We keep celebrating in Addis Ababa signing agreements and borders and movement, and here we have a situation where it takes a week to move goods 280 kilometers between two neighboring countries.
And then your neighbor too will say that, no, don't bring your goods here. I think when you look at it, a place like Republic of Benin, Togo, and Co., they are the ones that will benefit more in terms of these, regional markets. Because if I'm from Benin or I have business in Benin, it means that I don't only have market for 14, 15 million people. I have Nigeria's market, which is 200. You see, because the economic activities of Nigeria is mainly in the southwest, which is 60%. And the Republic of Benin is like part and parcel of that area. I mean, it's easy. My own market, like what I said, it's easier for me to take my cement into the Republic of Benin than going to Lagos. Even though I'm near.
I mean, yeah, we have been talking about regional. Where is Vera? I mean, we're talking about regional integration and all this stuff, and it's not happening on the ground. So,
Vera, are you here? Yeah, she's right there. Okay, we'll get you.
No, I think this conversation is important to really show what's happening actually on the ground. How we're going to move.
A couple of us, we have a lot of, work in our hands to do. I mean, today, for example, what I keep saying, luckily, people like Vera, they are actually, pushing. They have done this African Union passports.
Passports?
Yes, okay.
I haven't got one yet. I don't know why.
No, they have to give you one, definitely. I mean, it's better for you. Because if you now see my passports, I carry 6 to 7 passports because of visas. Okay, and even though I'm an investor, but I need visas in almost 38 countries out of 55 or so. So now they have issued us with the African Union passport. About a few of us, we've gotten the first.
3 of us.
maybe 3 or 4.
How much did you have to pay for that?
No, I didn't pay anything.
Come on, I mean,
No.
But look, I mean, I haven't got one. I mean, I support the African
didn't
Union.
apply?
They didn't give me one. I mean, you must have paid something for those guys.
No. We got it. It is in Addis Ababa at the African Union. So I've got one. But let me tell you this: the one that I have, I went to South Africa quite okay, and I think
You were
the new.
carrying a Nigerian passport or South African passport?
No, carrying African Union passport.
African Union passport.
Yes, but this same African Union passport, I'm sorry, since we're all talking very openly, but I was invited by the president of Angola to come and, see him. And, I had to go. Normally, I don't travel much during fasting period, but I went. And when I went there, I had to be given visa on African Union passport.
Maybe there is fees for the visa?
No,
There's no fees?
It's not about fees. When you say African Union passport, it means that you should
get some
move
money.
everywhere, free of
I
charge.
thought that was the agreement.
Yes,
Okay.
so I had to apply for visa, and intentionally when I applied for the visa, I also applied on African Union passport, and I gave them that one to stamp on it.
Maybe you need to send the picture of that to Musa Faki to say.
No, I'm going to send it to Vera.
She did not issue the passport.
She didn't issue, yeah, but she should
Musa
go. And,
Faki said, "What is this? I mean, is that useful?"
No, I think she's in Ethiopia, and since she's dragging all of us to champion this CFTA, so she needs to go and sort out these hanging issues. Then we'll all go out with her. Nigeria will sign tomorrow.
I tell you something. Yeah, this trouble thing. I tell you honestly. I mean, I also have, besides Sudanese passport, I have a British passport. I cannot use Sudanese passport anyway for obvious reasons. So I travel with British passport. I go everywhere. I get my visa in South Africa.
If you go to any
because
African
I say here
country,
I'm British. I don't look British, but I have a British passport. So it's this.
But more, your own is even easier or very simple. I've been to most of these countries where somebody who is my assistant, who take notes in the meeting, he will be allowed in, and they will not allow me in.
An African country.
An African country, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's. What do you do with those guys? Anyway.
Well, I think we need political will to be able to implement most of these things that were signed in. And, I think in Africa, if you will allow British, European, Americans to get in there on visa, having visa on arrival, you should allow all Africans to get in there with no visas. And I keep telling them, I was on a panel with the Prime Minister of, Mali. And I asked him, I said, Mr. Prime Minister, the people who are causing trouble in the other part of your country, did they come through the airports? No, those guys, they don't need a visa.
Boko Haram, that's... Exactly.
They don't need a visa, so whether you give them, it's better you go and concentrate on the troublesome people.
Exactly, they
go through with their tanks.
5 kilometers from the airport
yes,
across.
With their tanks, and they come into the cities with no, yes. So that's the,
One thing before, I need to talk a little bit about the issue of policy, but before we continue there's one thing you mentioned about agriculture.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to know what exactly you do about agriculture. I look at agriculture as also the one activity which can create a lot of jobs. Frankly, mining does not create jobs. You told me that you employ up to 70,000 people to build that refinery and stuff. I think there is a port need to be built, and there is power.
So many infrastructure
things. But these are not operational employment. This will be employed during the construction.
Period of construction.
But when you operate,
but you develop a lot of skills.
Yes, but when you operate, there will be only a couple of thousand or 3,000, something like that.
Yes, but the indirect employment is there also.
Fine.
Yeah.
But
agriculture
generates huge amount of jobs.
Much more.
That's why I'm interested in agriculture. Tell me, what exactly are you doing in agriculture?
Thank you, Mo. Well, what we are doing in agriculture, we are building 1 million tons rice, parboiling and processing with power generation, also attached to them. And with this, what we are doing is that we are giving the farmers, seeds, apart from seeds with implements, and then, when they finish the harvest, we buy this. But they have, they have a choice also, so that we don't really hold them to ransom. They have a choice of selling to anybody who will offer
So
more.
although he gives them the seeds and the
We give them the
fertilizers
seeds,
and
the implements. If they need any additional money, we have a backup by our central bank to lend them money, as a
to
group.
enable them to
To enable them, yes. Because in those areas, it is very difficult for them to go and mortgage their houses and borrow money.
monetize.
So
the assets,
so they can easily borrow money under soft terms. Somebody is not going to ask you to bring your grandmother's certificate of birth, which you normally don't have.
Okay, and but those people, when they finish, they sell you the rice, and you are committed to be competitive.
We're committed.
It's not
very
because I
committed.
lend you money, you must give it to me cheap.
No. What we have agreed with them is that if my price is not right, they should give to somebody, but they should come back and pay me my money.
You pay your debt, of course.
Yes.
That's the debt.
So
it's
that's
settled.
what we have. But you see, you can imagine how many jobs we are going to create.
How many people are going to work on this?
Both that one and the sugar in the next 4 years, we're actually creating about 150,000 jobs.
150,000
jobs, yes.
Interesting. I mean, this one area where Africa,
But you can see the impact. We are not going to create that much jobs in the refinery, which is 12 billion.
Yeah.
But this one is just less than 2 billion, but you can see the amount of jobs.
Created.
And yes, if we really in Africa want to create jobs, prosperity, and also, okay, somebody was telling me that, yes, there's a great GDP growth here in Côte d'Ivoire, but it's not trickling down. Just like us, also in Nigeria, when you look at it, even when we're having 7-8% of GDP growth, down there, they hardly see anything.
the trickle through is not happening.
It is trickling, but slowly.
Not serious.
Not serious. So the only way to have these things to trickle fast enough is through agriculture, where now, and that's why we have a greater advantage. I mean, you have a ready market, which is the difficulty of a lot of continents, but we have a market because the African continent imports more goods than any other continent. So what we need to do is to make sure that we transform our own goods. And it is very, very important more. Let me give you an example. Today, between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire, they actually produce 2/3 of the world's cocoa.
Yeah.
Okay? But the total amount of these exports that they have is about $6 billion. Okay, but the chocolate market is 100 billion.
Yes.
So you can see that, they are just working for other people.
Yeah. The problem is how to create African brands.
We need to do
Because
that. Even
all
if it's not
the
African
wallet
brand,
brands, they take the coca and put their
actually,
brand.
that's right. They should actually have some of these factories here.
Yeah. But you need to create a brand in order to sell it, Marks and Spencer and markets everywhere.
The brand creation, more is not really that difficult. The only thing that you have to be sure of is that your quality is right and your pricing is right.
Yeah.
Once you have that, nobody looks at where it is manufactured.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because most of the shoes you buy in Italy, they are not manufactured in Italy, especially in the U.S.
Is it U.S.?
Yeah,
I thought
in
U.S.
US.
stopped manufacturing everything. They say China does everything now.
Well,
They
China
still
produces
make shoes in America?
Yeah, they do all that. But right now, your friend is trying to drag all the industries to go to America.
Okay, we'll not talk about that
Trump.
now. Okay. Right, I mean, that's very interesting. Let us move also to, although the point of agriculture, I hope it registered. And that's a very important area because first, we are not really using all the lands we have. We have huge amount of arable land which has not been used.
60% of the world's arable land.
And we're not using that. Then even the land we are using, we have the lowest productivity in the world. And there is a huge upside there if we improve that productivity. So this is an area people need to look at very carefully.
We've changed that though more before you go on to your
Yeah.
next DC. You know, the rice, before in Nigeria, we used to do only one crop per annum. Now we do 2 crops, and they used to get about 1 to 2 tons per hectare. Now we have varieties that we imported that are giving us up to 8 tons per hectare. So once you have this, you know, it will help the
Modern
farmers.
techniques
It will
and-
help a lot of people to now realize that, look, farming is not a poor man's business. It can actually get rich faster in farming than doing something else. I mean, you look at it, you know, I mean, today we also have fertilizer, which we used to import a lot. Okay, this fertilizer, we have laboratories that will go and test your soil and give you what kind of fertilizer that you need. Whereas right now, as of today, people use the same fertilizer
To every
for
soil.
maize, for rice, for sugar, you know, so they don't actually differentiate, including the type of soil that you have.
So
And
this,
thing
this
they matter a
issue
lot.
of best practice, why don't you produce a case study or something useful? You've been through that, and let us, other African countries, appreciate how to do it, because we need to replicate what you have done there in other countries as well. Or you plan to do it all by yourself?
No, no, no.
Okay, so you're
Well,
going to
you know-
allow other people. So
you know
why don't
what-
you really let people know, here is how to do it?
Well, you
And,
know, that is one of the reasons why, when you look at it, you know, I do travel, you know, very often to various areas, you know, where I can give a talk, you know, sometimes inside Nigeria, sometimes outside, you know, Nigeria, just tell them that, hey, look, all this thing is a myth. Nothing is impossible. We can really make it happen. We as Africans, we can actually, you know, the issue is that, first of all, we have to understand that there are, I mean, in all the countries in the world, whether it's South Korea, Japan, US, those economies were actually built up by their own indigenous. So if we don't lead in
and
Africa,
agriculture was the basis of the development of many of these countries.
pardon me?
Agriculture was
Well-
the basis of development of many
Yeah,
countries.
many of these countries.
It's not backward, as people think.
No, it's not backward like
But
us.
because of time, let us move on a little bit different subjects to talk about you as a person. And, well, you made a lot of money now, but I guess it doesn't matter now because for you it is numbers in the banks, you know. You look at your bank
Yes.
statement and, you know, how many zeros here or it's not here or there.
I don't even look at that at all.
You don't even like it, but it's okay. But when you made your first million or 5 million,
Well,
how we deal with that? When you made your first million or 5 million or
you know, the way it is that when you first start business, your target is to make your first million. You know, okay, fine, I did that. But, you know, after, you know, a year or so, I realized that, look, I have much more than 12, 13 billion, you know, and I said, okay, fine, all these numbers are just written numbers.
Yeah.
You know, and one day I went to a bank.
yeah,
You know, at that time there were no restrictions of this, and I wrote a check and cash $10 million, and I took it home
for yourself?
for myself. Yes, I
You
took
cashed $10 million
$10 million,
from the
yes,
bank?
Yes,
Yes, and took it?
I put it in the boot of my vehicle,
Yeah.
and I went home, and I opened it, and I look at 10 million. I said, that, okay, fine. Now I believe I have money. I know.
So you put this in the bed and
No, no,
slept
no,
all
no,
night on top of it. You made love to your money,
It was,
no?
it was in the boot of my
the car.
You know, car.
Yeah.
But I brought it, and I went there by myself. I drove myself to the bank. I cashed the money, and you know, I put it in my room, and I look at the money, and I took it back to the bank the next day.
Can I ask you how much money you have in your wallet today?
Today,
Yeah, how much money you have in your pocket?
you'll be very, very surprised.
Uh-huh.
I don't even have, not even $1, nothing,
You have no money on you.
nothing, nothing. I have nothing.
That's money for you guys. When you have money, you don't carry money. See, that's really interesting. No, that's. I know you also started the foundation.
Yes, we have
And
started. the foundation.
what is the focus of your foundation?
I think the focus of our foundation is health education, empowerment, and disaster relief. So we do quite a lot. 2 years ago, we did an endowment of $1.25 billion.
$1.25
billion.
billion.
Yeah, dollars, yes.
You made an endowment of the foundation of $1 billion.
Yes.
That's interesting, okay?
Yes. But the foundation also is not a new foundation, it's very old.
Yes.
I started the foundation, in 1993.
Who manages this foundation?
It's a lady called Zura. You see?
Zura, I know.
She's somewhere here. She's doing a great job. That's her.
You're going to have a queue of people asking you for grants now. You better run away now. Yeah, okay. Now, let me ask you another personal question, if you don't mind. You must be the most eligible bachelor in Nigeria.
Oh, Mo, you've started again.
Yeah? I mean, you are nice, you are handsome, you are slim, and you're the richest man in Nigeria. You're always courteous, and I imagine there's a whole huge queue of young women outside your office every morning. Hi, Aliko. What's going to happen? I mean, you.
Well, Mo, of course, yes, it is natural.
Yeah.
But, I will now tell all those ladies to go and apply through my brother, who is my consultant, and he will help me and vet which one I should marry.
Who's that consultant?
That's Mo Ibrahim.
Oh, that's me. This guy is,
because I was telling somebody
now I'm going to receive 100,000 letters for CVs from Nigerian women.
I was telling somebody that I have a one-to-one with Mo. He said, when? I said, no, in about 3 hours. He said, oh, my God. He said that, Mo is actually harder than hard talk. I said, really? He said, yes. It's better you go and face hard talk than facing Mo. I said, no, don't worry. He is my brother. He'll be sort of me.
No, I think we have been kind to him today. Yes? We do not help. No, thank you very much, Aliko. Please give me a hand. And we are running out of time. We're going to allow 2 questions.
But Mo, I have a harder person. I thought I was very hard.
You?
But yes, I have somebody in the family very hard. My daughter is here, Halima. She's very hard.
Oh, Halima is a character. Yes.
That's why she's hiding. She doesn't want people to see her.
Yeah, Halima is
she's like
a businesswoman, and
yes.
She's building her own space now.
Yes.
That is wonderful. She was with us in dinner last night, actually, when you were late. I'm going to allow only 2 questions because we run out of time, but I really need interesting, serious questions. Not application for marriage or... Okay, somebody over there. Yes, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Uncle Mo and Baba Aliko. My name is Velani Mboweni. I'm a South African entrepreneur from Cape Town, focusing in technology and transportation. Now, I believe that Aliko started his business at 21 years old. If you were a 21-year-old entrepreneur today, what 3 sectors would you focus on creating a business in, and what 3 factors would you believe will make you succeed? Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I think the most sectors to focus is either ICT or agriculture. These are the 2 promising this thing that you need to focus on. But you see, a lot of people, even the younger ones, we need to be also very, very careful, because one of the biggest issues with us Africans is that we spend our projected incomes. Once you start doing business starts doing well. Rather than for you to keep reinvesting into the business, you start spending money and thinking that profit will continue to come. There are ups and downs in business, so you need to be very, very focused and say, okay, fine, what do you do and how do you do those things?
So you're not supposed to buy a Porsche car or...
No, you are not supposed to do that. You see, because those luxury things, they also take up your time, which will not make you focus on your business. It's like what I mean, I don't have any holiday home anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't have a house anywhere, but I know people who are working for me, they have a house in London, but I don't.
Interesting. That's why we have to put you up every time we see you, yes? But okay. One more question. That was a good question, the last one. Try to get me a better question. I cannot see in the dark, please. Okay,
Because
go
of the
ahead,
lights.
go ahead, okay.
Hi, my name is Nikki Wako. I'm from South Sudan and live and work in Belgium. I had a question about the Continental Free Trade Agreement that's being shopped around. I understand a couple of countries have had issues ratifying it because they were concerned about the private sector. And as a key member of the private sector, I would like to know, are you truly concerned about the impact of the free trade agreement on the industry in Nigeria? And secondly, the infant industry protection in the agreement, do you think that would be a challenging, or would that be a root cause for why Benin, for example, is not allowing your products in their region?
I think you answered that question.
Well, I've answered that question, but you see, let me also...
If you answer that question, let's allow another question.
No, she asked
Because you
one.
said it's not working.
It's not working, it's true.
So, what more you want to say?
No, what she said was, think about the industry, right? Am I right? Yeah, well,
Yes.
the issue is that if we'll implement it to the latter, then it's okay. You know, for example, South Africa, they signed, but they said that, yes, it has to have 80% content, local content. If it's 80% local content, I want you to count 20 things in the entire Africa where we produce with 80% local content. Okay, because the biggest issue that we have a structural problem in terms of industrialization in Africa. Most of the factories that we have in Africa, they are just assembly plants.
Assembly, yes.
Okay, so they don't really process local raw material to this. You know, like us now, if you look at it before in cement, we're importing. Now we produce almost every single thing in Nigeria, with the exception of what we don't have enough, which is the you know, the gypsum. Gypsum is only 3%, which is really peanuts. It's nothing. It's very cheap. It doesn't even, you know, it doesn't
But
help
do
us.
you think that 80% is a high bar?
I think, well, I think more we have to really protect our region because, you know, I'm sorry to say this, because a lot of people who are pushing for this CFTA, they are just looking at some of the weaker countries to go through and push their products into Africa. You know, so if we are going to, I don't mind, even if it's 70%, we can start. Even 80% that South Africa said that, look, it has to be 80%. I think it's too high. But we can even go down to 70. The biggest challenge is the implementation. Because today, if now the Republic of Benin are not allowing me to take cement in, which is 28 kilometers, how can somebody from Côte d'Ivoire be able to now send their goods by road to Nigeria? It's only 1,000 kilometers. But it will be very difficult because he will have problems with the Republic of Benin allowing you to enter.
Okay, I think we need to ask that question to our friends in Côte d'Ivoire here. Maybe ask the president. We're going to see the president in 1 hour.
Yeah, well, no,
Shall
well,
we ask him?
Yeah, we can ask him. But I
ask him,
think
how they're going to manage to
you see,
send it
because
through.
it will help quite a lot when we have this in between all the countries.
Yeah.
Where people now, for example, you know, I mean, in Côte d'Ivoire, everybody wants to come now and
So
invest.
let us summarize here. The message from business really is that please be real. Our political leaders, you sign agreements about free trade among African countries. Please do it. You know, implement what you signed.
They have to do it more because you see, it's just like today more. Every day you invite me for dinner, and you know, I will call on you. You know, you give me dinner. Both of us were doing business of similarities, and we are not doing any business. It is only a matter of time that we believe that, look, we are wasting my time, and I'm also wasting my time. Okay, so for countries, for us to strengthen those relationships, we have to have an economic relationship.
Economic integration is useful. Yes.
That's right. So the integration really is useful, We shouldn't be complaining that, yes, we have a lot of youth. You see, and we have to be very careful. We've seen this in North Africa. The time bomb that we have is this youth that they don't have jobs.
Okay. With this note on integration, I have to end this because we are running out of time. Please give a hand to a brave man.